Hello everyone, tonight we are casting the OG Interitus game against the Evolution Esports game. This is one of the last Leg 4 VSG First Division matchups within the Overwatch sphere of things. It's going to be an extremely interesting game. These two teams are extremely close on the ladder and we're very keen to see it happening. Tonight I am joined by the wonderful Donimay. Donnie? I think Donnie... Oh, sorry, I was muted. And with me tonight is the lovely Donimay.
Hi everybody.
Yeah, sorry about that technical issue. I'd muted my mic in Discord. And yeah, she couldn't hear me actually introduce her. Yeah. So, what can you tell us tonight, Donnie, about the side of, or the two lineups here on OG Interitus and Evolution Esports?
They both seem to be running their regular 6 stacks. So we have Nari, Demon, Phoenix, Diaz, Department, Lynx, Master, and Adam for Interitus. And then Maestro, Aviator, Lorena, Bobby Pangan, Necros, and Cappuccino for Evo. Tonight for the maps, we are going to run Rialto. The Forced map is the first one, as well as Kings Row, Lijiang, Eichenwald, and Nepal.
So two hybrids, two control maps. Really cool stuff. Interested to see that happening.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's always nice to see sort of what it is that the teams bring out on the different sets of maps.
No doubt about it. So I just want to change my key bindings there just so that everything is looking a bit nicer, working a bit better. Else we are going to have issues. Okay, cool. So, if we have seen this map, every single map this leg, seeing as it is the forced map. So what are we expecting, would you say, Donimay, in terms of compositions and how teams are going to run those compositions?
Well, for the defending side, we are likely to see a lot of crowd control tanks, a lot of sort of spam damage happening. We see Phoenix Tears on the Orisa, we see Department on the Roadhog, we also see Lynx on the Junkrat. So trying to spam down any shields, maybe try and hook a few people off this beginning environmental bit. It's quite nice for that. We often see the attacking side sort of running similar kind of either a spammy type composition, usually with a pharmacy, or we see double sniper coming out. In the case of Evo, we see them running both the Pharah and the Widow at this point. So definitely trying to sort of get some range damage in on this defensive CC setup that usually happens on the opposite high ground to the spawn point.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Evo trying to just kind of play the sidelines, kind of spam down, see if they can get a pick off essentially, and OG Interitus kind of looking to just hold up on this high ground. Demon does actually get taken out extremely early here by Aviator. I am keen to see Naori use res, which means that Mercy res is going to be down for this next fight. Department getting booped off, Lynx Master, Phoenix Tears deciding to drop down. Lynx, however, gets taken out by the Widowmaker. As we were speaking about those long sidelines, very, very problematic here for the side of OG Interitus, actually losing one of their main damage sources. Aviator also taking out Adam. Those are both DPS down for OG Interitus, and they are still trying to hold this point, trying to hold it, and not really backing up to kind of regroup. And as I say that, we see Cappuccino taking out both supports, and the tanks just falling flat because there's no damage to contest Evo's damage. So in that instance there, OG Interitus kind of stuff themselves by not backing up enough and just kind of trying to still contest point instead of trying to back up and regroup.
Yeah, we see Atom now swapping off onto the Widow to try and contest this Widow of theirs on the high ground because Cappuccino on this Widow is creating so much space for his team that they are just sort of allowed to move freely forward without really being able to, without Interitus being able to contest them efficiently.
Can't agree with you more, and I think also what the Widow really creates, the Widow plus the Pharah, as I say that even getting picked off, the Widow creates this thing in the background that can kill you at any moment, but you can't really send resources after it. Demon getting rezzed, immediately getting picked back off, Aviator taking out Adam, and I mean that's the Widowmaker down, the Zenyatta down, Department on the Reinhardt going down, Link's also down. It's only Nairi and Phoenix Tears here, but it does look like Nairi is getting hunted down by the side of Evo here. They are pushed extremely far up, and this is something we don't actually see in First Division. We generally see this type of movement and the way they're playing this composition in Prem, where the DPS are a lot more mechanically skilled and they're a lot more confident in their ability to get these early pickoffs, to really push right in there, right into the opposition spawn, and it's worked out beautifully for them.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's a lot of aggression coming from the side of Evo at the moment. They've got a lot of momentum going for them, and they seem to be pushing quite well with it.
And Department taking out Lorena there, she's caught out in a very, very bad position. Department just capitalizing on the fact that she wasn't in the right place that she was. However, he does lose his shield, but he immediately pops his ultimate, taking out Zarya. Oh, and that's Aviator getting taken out by Lynxmeister. I expected a big ultimate there. Unfortunately, Lynx taking him out mid-ult. And we do see Evo Vector here, or Evo deciding that they're going to back up. They're just going to regroup, reset, and then kind of get another push at this point.
Now we do see Evo sitting on a bit of an ult advantage at the moment. They've got 4 ults up, whereas OG and Interitus is only sitting with 2 at the moment.
And we see Lorena opting to pop her ultimate, Nairi Mizuki popping her ultimate as well, just trying to keep her team alive. However, Phoenix Tears is getting taken out. Maestro is in this backline, he's also popped his ultimate. Cappuccino taking out the Bartman, Atom getting demeked. Lynxmaster also going down, and this just isn't working for OG Interitus. Phoenix Tears trying to stay on this point, trying to stay alive, but he's going to get zoned out by Maestro and Necros. And I think what OG Interitus are failing to deal with here is the fact that they're leaving the Widow uncontested, but they're also not winning the team fight on the ground without her. And that's a big issue for them right now.
Yeah, no, definitely. The fact that both, at this point, both the Pharah and the Widow are pretty much going uncontested is really creating big problems for them.
Precisely, and we do see Atom swapping onto the Diva here, trying to go for the triple comp, and Lynxmeister, big stuff there, taking out Bobby Pangang as well as Maestro. However, Nairi Mizuki going down, that might leave OG Interitus with 2 few sustained. However, Demon popping the Transcendence, saving his team from Aviator's ultimate, but that's not enough. Atom does pop ultimate. It does look like the Grav isn't going to hit anything from Phoenix Tears. That's 2 wasted ultimates there on the side of OG Interitus. And it does look like Necros is coming up on his ultimate very quickly, as well as Maestro. And they're going to push this in. If they can get these next 2 ultimates up quick enough, there we go. They can win this fight. And we see Maestro charging in. Nairi Mizuki getting taken out, Phoenix Tears Demon as well, which means there's no sustain on this point. It's only the tanks. They're going to have to see what they can do. It does look like the Bartman opted for the ultimate, but he doesn't get anything out of it, and that's going to be Evolution Esports' point.
You know, definitely. It was a very solid push by Evo there. They sort of came in guns blazing. The momentum kept them going for most of the fights. The fact that I think OG wasn't quite swapping onto counters to effectively deal with all the sort of range damage that was being pounded onto them really sort of hampered their ability to effectively contest this momentum that Evo was building up.
No doubt about it, and I think that, as you say, the biggest thing, you said it in the cast in between here, is the fact that they're leaving the Widowmaker and this Pharaoh with so much space, and it's almost like they aren't initiating on the ground with the, they aren't winning the ground fight, but nor are they winning the DPS duel as well. And I think when you're going up against something like a Widow as well as a Pharaoh, you really want to either focus them out or zone them out of the way, play out of their sightlines, or just try to win the rest of the fight. it seems like Interitus are really struggling, and the, as you say, the momentum that Evolution Esports took into going into point 2 to go for point 2 really caused lots of problems for OG Interitus, being almost camped in spawn essentially. But I like what I'm seeing here on the side of OG Interitus. Can you tell me a bit more about that strategy, Donimay?
Yeah, it seems as if Interitus is going to opt for running a bit of goats on their attack. So they're running a trip tank, trip support with Orion, Zarya, Diva, and the Lucio Moira Brig. So they're definitely going to try to sort of stick together as a unit, move in quickly, and just sort of pound down onto Evo as quickly as possible.
No doubt about it, and I think Evo are very set up, they're ready for this push, because if we do look at the composition, they have the spam heavy composition just to kind of break through shields, get stuff done. It does look like OG Interitus is opting to go left hand side, taking up, but Linksmeister getting picked up on that Lucio means that their push is going to be halted right in its track. Nairi Mizuki getting taken out, but Debartman getting 2, taking out a support and a DPS, as well as the main tank, just sustaining, staying alive. Atom also getting Larina, and it does look like Cart, however, wasn't pushed for quite some time there, which means that Interitus, although they are doing well, are still going to have to go back for that and gain all this ground that they could have made. We see the Bartman and Demon both coming up with ultimates. I think that's going to be a massive play in this next engagement here. We see Cappuccino already swapped onto the Reaper. Oh, Aviator picking up 3 as the Junkrat does secure that fight immediately for Evolution Esports. The rest of his team just kind of pushing in, kind of forcing Interitus to either back up or die immediately. And they do get the picks that they want, they get the picks that they need. And this is a very interesting composition that we see come out here from Evolution Esports, because all OG need to really do on their side is bring the Pharah. I think we might be having sound issues. I'm not too sure. I'm just gonna double check quickly. Then that should be fixed. Cool. I think they are fixed now. We couldn't hear Donimay there for quite some time. It does look like Debartman and Atom then pushing in. Atom getting a Debartman actually getting a massive shatter, taking out both the supports, and it does look like Aviator's going to get a few picks in return. Necros popping his ultimate, just trying to get the damage done, trying to take a few off of the side of OG Interitus. Atom getting taken out by Aviator very quickly. It's only Nairi Mizuki and Linksmeister, the 2 supports, really trying to push in here, really trying to get the kills. However, it looks like they're fighting a losing battle. Nairi Mizuki getting taken out by Necros there, and that means Linksmeister's going to have to back up to his team and bust them all back to cart. And I must say, Donimay, it doesn't look like Goats is really working out here for OG Interitus.
Yeah, no, it doesn't quite seem to be working well for them.
It does look like Naomi Mizuki does opt to pop ultimate push in there. Linksmeister also popping his ultimate. Debartman charging Maestro down in the backlines. Aviator picks up Links though with that rip tire, and it does look like OG and Interitus are a bit too split here. They're kind of all over the place, trying to just assemble onto point, get what they need to get there. Debartman does get in there with Atom. It does look like the Reaper ult from Cappuccino, however, is going to save the day. It demakes Phoenix Tears, and it does look like OG and Interitus are going to lose this fight.
It definitely seems as if Evo is doing quite a good job of splitting up this composition that they're running, and Goats really find strength in the fact that they sort of need to stick together and move as a unit and focus the same target. So as long as they sort of keep splitting up, it makes it very easy for them to get picked off one by one.
No doubt about it, and I think we saw it very clearly there, is they were all in different parts, almost as if they weren't focused on this exact same fight, which is not something you really want in Goats. It does look like Necros is going to pop his ultimate, just push them out, but Cappuccino already getting the 2 picks they need. He gets the 3rd. It does look like Aviator is going to finish the job on Naori Mizuki, and Linksmeister gets taken out by Maestro. And that map is going to go to Evo Esports.
Solid defense there from Evo once again. I mean, they sort of effectively countered the composition that Interitus was trying to run. They zoned everybody out. They kept them separated. They applied the pressure in all the right places, and ultimately that seemed to work out very well for them.
Completely agree, Donimay. I think the fact that Evo on their push really steamrolled over Interitus and created so much space for themselves that they can push up like that. They really could get up in the faces of Interitus. That really helped them a lot when defending, because now suddenly all that pressure is relieved of having finished the map in overtime or whenever you had finished it, but they had finished it with quite some time available, which means I think they were very much more confident and composed in their defense, where OG Interitus really knew they had to make it work, and they had to make it work fast. And I think that might have maybe gotten to them, and they might have lost a bit within the comm structure that they had set up, because it felt to me that they weren't ever grouped enough in order for goats to actually work properly on that composition, specifically because you're dealing with this Widowmaker and Junkrat, who then later becomes this Reaper, and this Junkrat, that are really causing issues for you. So I think on the side of Interitus there, as you said, they need to group up more, kind of figure out who they're going to focus first.
It's definitely something that any team sort of trying to run that strategy sort of needs to look at. I do find frequently that sort of the GOATS composition works a lot better when you either have a hybrid map going like we do have now on King's Row, or when you're doing a control point type map. It seems to be more favorable for those comps than the payload maps are. So, you know, maybe also if you're running a composition like GOATS and you're doing that first push and you're immediately getting shut down, it might be wise to sooner rather than later swap off that composition, especially if you're doing something like a payload map and it's not working.
Completely agree with you there, and I think what they needed there is maybe running a GOATS, a variation of GOATS where they bring in one DPS instead of the tanks. So specifically on the altar, I think GOATS is going to work a lot better here, as you said, but it looks like Evo is going to play around this Widowmaker yet again, and if they are going to do that, OG Interitus really need to figure out how to deal with it within that GOATS composition.
Yeah, we see Interitus sort of opting for a more meta type play on their defense, so they have the Ryan, Zarya and the Hanzo to get some wombo combos in. They once again have links on that Junkrat to sort of try and spam this choke, get shields down as quickly as possible. Demon with the Discord Orb will help a lot to increase damage, and of course Nari on the Ana also has that anti-nade, so they definitely have a lot of potential to sort of do a lot of damage and sort of hamper the healing on the side of Evo at the moment.
No doubt about it, and I think we see Evo actually running their own goats coming out here. They're gonna just rush this left side. Bobby Pangang going around that little area. The Bartman deciding to go in. Maestro getting right up into the thick of things here. Right up into the faces of OG Interitus, and that's precisely what you want to do here. It does, however, look like the Bartman and Lynx picking up kills. However, they are going to get taken out. Atom sitting here right up in this backline, really causing lots of problems, I think, for Evolution Esports, picking them up from behind, doing all that damage he needs to. And Evolution Esports are looking like they're whittling down thin on the point, but OG Interitus is getting picked up right at the end there just to get cleared out off point. I think we can safely say that is how you should be running goats. Sure, there were a few kinks, but I think overall they did extremely well, the way they ran their goats now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The fact that they sort of stormed into that left small space in the back allowed for them to sort of decide the terms of that engagement, and which is the thing that you want to do with goats. You want to decide when the engage happens, where the fight happens, so that you have the control in that situation.
No doubt about it, and I think they just their sheer intensity of getting right up in there really won them that fight. It didn't seem like Interitus were ever grouped enough to bring that type of intensity, because they're not close enough to target the same hero. And it does look like OG and Interitus are going to kind of back up here, kind of just wait it out, get all their teammates back, but I fear that the same thing's going to happen to them that happened on Rialto, where they get zoned off of the second point push completely. We already see with only one on payload, they've almost got it 2/3, 3/4 of the way. We see Cappuccino popping the ultimate there, the Transcendence getting used by Demon just to kind of sustain through all of that, keep everyone alive, but it didn't look like Evo Esports really wanted to push in. It seemed as if they were just trying to keep OG and Interitus as far back as possible away from this point. And as I say that, Evo Esports actually capping this point, getting right up into their faces as Maestro, just going ham in the backlines here, does get taken out by Demon, but Demon taken out immediately after that with his co-support, Nairi Mizuki on the Ana. And it looks like Evo Esports have just done exactly what they did on Rialto, where they leave this one person on payload, and they just all push up and create that space that is so necessary for them to create opportunities.
Absolutely, and the fact that Interitus is sort of struggling to focus that single target also means that even without that extra support running on their comp, they've got more than enough sustain to sort of keep themselves going.
No doubt about it, and we see Department getting taken out there from an awkward angle. Atom, however, massive barrage, saving the day, taking out both tanks, taking out a support, just cleaning up on the card. Aviator opting to commit suicide just to get that mech back a lot faster. Lurina also just for the reset, just so that Evo Esports can kind of just regroup, rethink what they're trying to achieve here, possibly swapping one or two things. It doesn't look like they will for this push because they have the ult advantage, but honestly speaking, it does look like this Pharah is doing lots of work to tear them apart. Massive Graviton Surge coming out on point. Cappuccino pushing in there, picking up Demon, picking up Linksmeister. It does look like that's going to be 4 down on OG Interitus. Nairi Mizuki on this monitor, just trying to keep point alive, just trying to stall it as long as possible. However, gets taken out, and it does look like Evo Esports are going to push right up into the spawn here of OG Interitus, keeping one on card yet again, and just making sure that OG Interitus cannot get a point. However, the Bartman pushing through, Demon with the Transcendence, making sure they get there. However, he doesn't have it for this Rhine Shatter from Maestro, who takes out the Bartman. Lynx also getting taken out. Moro ulti coming through from Nairi Mizuki, trying to keep everyone alive on point, trying to kill things, trying to get them off of point. Demon, Nairi Mizuki, the only two left alive on point. Nairi Mizuki, the only one there. Lynx, however, does join her very quickly. And as I say that, the Bartman gets a massive pin on Bobby Pangang, and he gets taken out by Necros. However, the Diva Bomb clearing out point, and it's only going to be Phoenix Tears just trying to stall out this point, trying to keep everyone alive. Atom does come through with the May, really bringing the stall tactics. Maestro popping another ultimate, taking out Demon, almost picking up Adam, and they're sitting on this point, and it looks like OG Interitus is here to stay. They do take out Nairi Mizuki, pushing into the Bartman. Bartman taken out. There's the May gone, there's the Junkrat gone, and that's point.
Yeah, very good job by Interitus for stalling that point as long as they did. It was a very tough fight. There was a lot of pressure on them, but they managed to keep that point going for quite a bit.
Yeah, I must say I'm extremely impressed with Interitus's ability to stall there. They did that. They did it for quite some time now. I think that was about a good 30 seconds, maybe 40 even, that they just stayed on that point, kept it alive, and it's so important that teams really get good with that and understand how to do it almost, or what you're trying to achieve. You're trying to keep as many alive on point as you kill one or two of them, because if you have 5 on point, their respawn timer becomes longer, which means because their spawn is so much further, you can kind of regain point through that. Unfortunately, I think on the side of OG and Interitus is they just didn't get the picks that they needed to in order to retake that point. But the stall being very strong there from them, really good stuff.
Okay, for this reversal, we see that Interitus is once again going to try and run the goats. Hopefully it'll work out just as well for them as it did for Evo. We see that Evo is running a double sniper with Orion Zarya on their defensive setup. So definitely some potential for some problems there. The snipers might have a little bit of work cut out for them, given that Goats has quite a bit of sustain, and then of course all these tank heavy bodies of huge health pools, so it's quite difficult to get them down, especially if you've got the Rhine shield up. So not much to spam down the shield from Evo to Interitus. We'll have to see sort of how these snipers work around it, whether the Hanzo is able to get the shields down quickly enough.
Now Maestro actually getting caught out of position there, opting to charge back into his team, Department following right up on his feet. And OG and Interitus are looking to play this a lot better. They are a lot more grouped now, and they are trying to get in there, trying to get aggressive. Department getting a massive charge off of Maestro. However, Necros has already picked up 2 supports on the side of OG and, for Evo Esports here. And Phoenix is trying to contest Necros on that Hanzo, trying to keep him out. But while all of this has been going on, OG and Interitus have just been on point and have 2 ticks already. It does look like, however, they are going to get taken out by Necros' ultimate just coming through here. But it doesn't look like OG and Interitus are going to stay on this point too long. Even though they have all the supports back, they're going to have to back up. Because without the tank bodies, Goats is a really, it's a struggle to get onto a point as 3 supports. Just put it that way.
No, absolutely. Going on point as 3 supports is surely not what you want to do. We see Cappuccino swapping off the Widow onto that Junkrat just to try and sort of spam down these big bodies a little bit quicker.
And we see Department getting right in here, popping the Shadow, but it does look like Bobby Pangang with the Transcendence is going to save most of his, or all of his team there. Lorena also opting to pop her ultimate. It does look like Maestro is going to come with a reverse Shatter. He does take out Adam on that Zarya, and that's a big pick, because that's where most of your damage is coming from. And yet again, it's the 3 supports trying to keep themselves alive, trying to get some ult charge, but they're going to have to back up, else they're going to get picked off here and trickled. And if they get trickled now, it's going to be a long wait. Demon actually does get picked off there. And that's going to be another 10 seconds for Interitus just to wait it out, kind of get everyone back, just so that they can reset and get the Goats comp back in there. See Cappuccino opting to pop that tire, looking for one, and he does pick up Demon. Unfortunately, yet again, that's going to mean OG Interitus is going to have to wait another 10 seconds there. Really, it's almost a reset ult, if you could put it that way. A Junkrat tire. Oh, big Graviton Surge right through the wall. Picking up 4, picking up 5, that's going to be 6 there. Massive play by Necros. Definitely the play of the game right there.
Yeah, no, it's a wombo combo in its purest form, and the reason why it has been made so for so long. When it works, it just works.
Precisely, and on the side of OG and Interitus, they only really have the Lucio to negate that ultimate with a defensive ultimate, and Lucio isn't what you really want. You want the Transcendence. It does look like Linksmeister is going to use it aggressively here though. The Grav coming out from Atom and picks up 3, but Bobby Bang Bang has his Transcendence back up. It does look like they're trying to force this point. Lorena with her ultimate as well. Maestro getting a big shadow, unfortunately missing the charge. But it looks like Aviator's going to put in the work. He's going to do the damage. Linksmeister getting taken out yet again by Necros from behind. They're really struggling with this Hanzo on their backsides the whole time. Necros really trying to get into the Bartman's face here. Maybe see if he can pick him off. Does look like they're going to store Phoenix Tears here, just so that they get a bit more time they stall Interitus for a bit more time, so that they only have 1 push instead of 2. Cappuccino going to pop that ultimate again, is going to look for 1 pick. He almost, the Bartman actually blocking that fully with his shield. I expected him to take a lot more damage. But he's going to have to get aggressive here. He does move along this right hand side of the statue with Phoenix Tears pushing along that left side, trying to create the space. He gets booped up and charged around, which creates the perfect opportunity to shatter. He takes out Maestro and Cappuccino. However, Lorena's picked Cappuccino back up to kind of get him to contest this point. It does, however, look like he's not going to stay there very long. Interitus sitting on this point, really feeling that heat, that intensity that they need to win this fight. Necros pushing in, is going to get taken out by the Bartman, and Bobby Pangang in a very awkward position. However, Linksmeister, unfortunately, popping his ultimate there, which wasn't necessary. I'm not sure if that was a miscommunication or what it was there, but it happens. Maybe a misclick.
Very nice push there from them. It sort of looked as if it wasn't going their way, but I think that maybe that junk tire that shot that Ryan up into the air really did create the perfect opportunity for him to just instantly turn around and shatter. So working out very nicely for them there.
Department getting into this prime position just to shadow right behind them. And what we see here from Interitus is not taking too much ground. The junk tire is going to come through from Cappuccino here yet again. It's going to look to pick up one of these supports, and it picks up Demon yet again. Looks like he's focusing out this Moira with that junk tire. Maestro, however, caught in a really bad position right between the two tanks of OG and Interitus here, and they're just going to push in. Phoenix Tears and Department leading the way. Phoenix Tears really trying to contest this high ground, get them off of it. Aviator has to pull back because Maestro is not there, but it doesn't look like they want to stop the spam. Necros approaching ultimate is going to want to pop that with the Graviton Surge again. Diva ultimate, however, picking up the Mercy. That means that they want support down. They are going to opt, however, for the Graviton Surge. It does pick up 5, but Necros is down. That means that combo's gone to waste. Atom picking up 2, securing this fight, and they're pushing through here. Really looking good from OG and Interitus. Really bringing the intensity right now that this comp deserves.
Yeah, no, and it definitely looks at the fact that they've swapped Atom off onto the Pharaohs, also working out well for them. He's creating a lot of space for his team to work. He's helping to contest a lot of the high grounds that Necros and Cappuccino frequently are occupying. So definitely helps to zone out those two DPSs with this Pharaoh.
And as you're saying that, we see Evolution Esports actually realizing that, placing Aviator right up here on this high ground. Necros does pick up Linksmeister, however, while that's happening, and Atom is really getting zoned out of this fight by this Diva, and I think that's the biggest issue here for OG and Interitus. Phoenix here is really trying to contest him on the high ground. Maestro trying to get really aggressive, trying to get into the face of OG and Interitus, break down that shield. Phoenix Tears pushing in, however, Necros picks up Department right in the backline. That means OG and Interitus is going to have to reset. However, Atom decides he's going to ult. He picks up Lorena, however, Necros counter ultimates, picks up Linksmeister again, as well as Demon. That means OG and Interitus is going to have to go right back to spawn. Necros chasing down Naori Mizuki just to get that trickle pick on the Brigitte. And it does look like OG and Interitus are going to have to full regroup and spawn.
It'll definitely have to be a reset for them. Even though it was almost a nice play by Atom, I think maybe if he just held onto that ultimate a little bit longer, it might have been more favorable for them, especially given that they'd lost so many. Because the Evo spawn is quite a bit closer than the one that they were running from, so...
Oh, and then we see Maestro popping a massive ultimate with Cappuccino in the backlines, popping the McCree ult, securing the kills they need, picking up all 3 supports on the side of OG and Interitus, which means there's no sustain, no one there to really help them, and Phoenix Tears just wanting to get picked off here, not wanting to be trickled and be a baby diva.
Atom did really good work to get that Genji blade up as quickly as he did. Unfortunately, the 2 picks not really countering the 3 that they lost on their side.
Yeah, I actually missed the Genji blade, but Maestro and Cappuccino pulling off a really nice combo there. As you say, negating the work from Atom. Department diving right in here. Atom right in the backline on the Zenyatta, really doing lots of work. Both Diva ults coming through, however, 2 supports getting taken out from the side of OG and Interitus. That might make the difference here. Maestro on that card does demech Phoenix Tears, and it does look like Department and Phoenix Tears, the only 2 left on point. Phoenix Tears getting taken out, Department there, Atom's going to have to touch. He's the last one alive, he does go for point, he picks up Cappuccino, the Earth Shatter does miss him, he's doing lots of work here, staying alive on that point. Aviator finally gets rid of him. Phoenix Tears getting raised up, but immediately charged off point and dies. That's Demon also going down. Naori Mizuki just trying to touch here while she ultimates. Linksmeister getting picked up. Department's back, however. He's here to contest, and OG Interitus looking to stall this point out as long as they can. They don't want to lose this. They want to keep this going. Department's still on this point, still trying to survive. He gets taken out. Atom making it just in time with that Doomfist. But that, oh, Phoenix Tears also just diving in here, really doing lots of work to get in there. Demon, however, gets taken out. The Riptire also, and I think that's going to be it from OG Interitus.
Yeah, they did a very good job trickling onto this point for as long as they did. Unfortunately, it seems as if Evo quickly sort of caught on to what they were doing there, and pushed up that little bit further to ensure that OG Interitus isn't able to trickle quite as effectively as they've been doing for like the last 20 odd seconds that they were trying to stall on that point.
I can't, I'm not even going to add on to that, because I think that is exactly the exact right analysis for that situation. And I think OG are really struggling to find when they have their groove, they're playing extremely well, and when they aren't, they're really struggling. It's almost as if Evo Esports know exactly what to do to counter them and which players to focus out and negate that space for. We saw that on that last point, them negating Atom on that Pharah on that high ground. Aviator on the Diva, making sure that Atom can't get into that high ground that can lead him to the back of the back of his team. Necro's sitting right up on the other high ground, making sure Atom can't even contest Aviator because he's being contested by the Hanzo too, really causing problems here for OG Interitus. And what do you expect from this next map here? It being control point firstly, and secondly, what do OG Interitus need to do here in order to secure this next map?
Well, we do see that OG is favoring a lot of goats at the moment. As I mentioned earlier, it's a composition that works a lot sort of more effectively on these control point maps. So it's quite possible that we might see both teams trying to run goats. We did see Evo also sort of running a go type strat on their attack, so both teams might be trying to run it here. It'll be interesting to see whether they try to opt for the same 3-3 combination, or whether they'll be running sort of different types of 3-3, because I mean, you can swap the Diva out for a Roadhog, you can replace one of the supports with one of the other ones, so it'll be interesting to see what they run. Interitus will definitely have to sort of, you know, keep their focus and sort of stick together and work as that tight-knit unit. The thing that they might have to look out for, though, which was happening quite frequently to them on King's Row especially, is Cappuccino. He's doing an excellent work of always being behind them. Whether he was playing the Hanzo or whether he was playing the McCree, he just always ended up being in a place where you didn't expect him to be. So if they are running the GOATS composition, or whichever comp they're running, really, they should really be on the lookout for the potentiality of flankers happening, because they more than once were sort of caught unaware, not only by the flanker, but the ultimates coming from behind.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. Even Necros on the Hanzo on that first point, getting behind them. I mean, that first push OG Interitus did pull through, that it looked like they were going to win it until Necros picked off 2 with his ultimate. And that is definitely, I think, the way Evolution Esports are approaching this GOATS comp, is pulling OG Interitus apart in these little drips and drabs, kind of getting behind them, flanking them, trying to make sure that they aren't fighting in one place. And I think they've countered GOATS effectively with that, because they're realizing what they need to do, what their win condition is, pulling that strategy apart from each other. If they split, they can't really fight as a GOATS unit, if you can put it like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, we see this round around both teams opting for dive-ish kind of comp, and Interitus almost more so than Evo. Evo definitely bringing some stuff to deal with the Pharah, a Reaper to deal with tank heavy bodies. Both teams opting for the Lucio to get onto the point as quickly as possible, because whoever secures the point and gets the ultimates up first is more likely to win a control point map like this.
No doubt about it, and we see Maestro getting taken out very early there. Him being the only tank on Evo Esports is going to mean this push is going to be extremely hard for them. Lorena also getting picked up. And we see on the side of Evo Esports, they're just going to have to back up. Opting for the 3 DPS strat is extremely... sorry, how can you put it? It's extremely...
It's risky.
It's very, very risky, and it takes a lot of discipline in terms of where you're attacking from and what you can attack. As I said, that Necro's getting picked off on this Tracer, and I think Evo Esports need to run this very differently. They aren't as grouped up as they could be right now, and I think that is causing their biggest issues for them, because they only have one tank, and if they're not playing around him, they're really going to struggle here.
Yeah, the fact that the only tank is a dive tank is a little bit problematic. I mean, you do have the Lucio speed boost there to try and get the rest of the team as close as possible to this dive tank. However, with Lorena sitting on the Brigitte, I'm not quite sure whether they have enough sustains, given the composition that OG Interitus is running at the moment.
As we say that, however, Cappuccino and Necros picking up 2 of the supports on the side of OG Interitus. They only have Demon left alive, who Lorena opting to pop that ultimate just to secure the kill, win the fight, so that Evo Esports can pick this up. And as you said, I definitely agree with you. I don't think Evo Esports has enough sustain to outmatch them, but I think if they do exactly what they did in that last fight, where they attack from these different angles, they catch Interitus off guard every time. As we say that, however, Interitus walking in here with 5 ultimates.
Yeah, no. Ultimately, you don't need much sustain when the enemy team is all dead. Yeah. And I think maybe that's sort of what they're opting for at the moment.
Yeah, precisely. Aviator popping his ultimate. It does look like Interitus of 4 versus 5 right now. The Diva Bomb coming out from Phoenix Tears, picking up 2. That means this fight should be secured here for OG Interitus. Phoenix Tears doing a lot of work on this Diva, really getting right up into their faces, forcing out the side of Evo Esports, just forcing them backwards, really causing lots of problems for them on this Diva. However, Department overextending there. Unfortunately, Naori Mizuki not picking him up, not healing him, not being there for him, which means that they are going to be 1 tank down going into this engagement. And Maestro immediately popping in, knowing that that's there. Atom, however, pops the Pharah ult, picking up 2. That does mean that Evo Esports are playing 4v5 right now. Necros does, however, pick up Demon. Department taking out Bobby Pong, which means that Evo Esports are really going to have a tough time here, only having 10 seconds left on this clock. This is not a nice position for them. Interitus just standing on the point. Phoenix Tears with another Diva Bomb, popping that up, unfortunately not picking up enough. Lorena, however, is back on point, back to contest it with her team, creating those big armors for all the teammates so that they can actually survive through all of this. Lynxmeister opting to pop the ultimate, keep this fight going, keep it sustained. We see Cappuccino popping the ultimate, taking out Atom. That might be the winning fight, or the winning ultimate for this fight. Demon also getting taken out, Lynx as well. It does look like OG and Interitus are going to have to reset here. After burning so many ults, you would have thought that they take that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Evo just seems to sort of be focusing the right targets and positioned in such a way that it's very difficult for them to get picked off. But I mean, Interitus has more than enough time to sort of regroup and try and push back in.
Yeah, and as we see, as you say that, Botman actually diving in there with Phoenix Tears. Aviator, however, popping the ultimate. Lorena picking up Naori Mizuki, which means they're without the mercy. They don't have that sustain, and they're just dropping like flies right now, splitting way too far up. It looked like the Bartman wanted to rush the server room area. However, it didn't look like his team was really with him, if it was communicated or not. It didn't look like they synergized that push together, but they are going to get a second chance at getting back to this point, really being here. Lynx Department, however, getting taken out really early by Aviator on that Reaper, doing the job that he needs to. And we see Evo Esports here pulling OG Interitus apart limb by limb, kind of attacking around them, kind of getting within their team composition, and causing lots of different focus fires from different angles onto Interitus. And that's why we see Interitus getting picked up here very quickly. It does look like Evo Esports just need to get rid of Lynxmeister on this point, which they have done, and that's going to be that first map going to them there.
It's definitely very, very clever play by Evo there. Well, clever positioning really, because it's almost as if they all stand on the outskirts of the point, waiting for Interitus to dive in. And once they're in there, they're just surrounded by pretty much every player on the Evo team. So, I mean, it sort of took Evo a while to sort of get there, but it seems like once they've established that Interitus are sort of set on this dive type comp, they just negated the entire comp by waiting for them to fall onto the point, and then they just pounced them and took them out almost every time without fail.
Yeah, and I think that really goes, lots of credit there goes to the two flankers on the side of Evo Esports. Cappuccino being on the Soldier being a very anti-dive hero, Reaper the exact same thing, but Reaper, or Aviator on the Reaper and Necros on the Tracer are causing problems for Interitus where they create these different lines of attack. They're attacking from different angles. One's behind you, one's in front of you. They're kind of all over the place. Bobby Pangang, however, not sure if that's a positional flaw or if he was instructed to there, but it does look like Cappuccino does get the pick off on Linkspicer. However, Atom taking out the opposing Reaper. Ooh, it does look like I have DC'd from the game. Let's just check what is going on here. I don't think it's an internet thing. I think it might be a Blizzard issue. I should get back into it fairly quickly though. Thanks Jeff, appreciate you. And okay, unfortunately we did miss a fight there. Really sorry about that. I can't really tell Blizzard not to disconnect me from games now and then. Wish I could though.
Yeah, no, definitely would have helped if we could. See Lorena popping her ult. They have now, Evo has secured the points, sitting on 39% at the moment.
Yeah, and we see Demon also popping his ultimate here with Debartman, both getting really aggressive there. Maestro, however, counter-ulting with this Winston. Neri Mizuki getting taken out as well as Linkspicer. That means Interitus are only going to be 4. Cappuccino opting to pop this ultimate to really secure the kill on the Pharah. And he does also pick up Debartman, which means this is going to have to be a full reset yet again from OG Interitus. And it looks like Evo Esports just have this composition down. It looks like they know exactly what they need to do in order to break down this dive coming through from OG Interitus.
Absolutely, Evo definitely have their anti-dive comp is solid, it works well. I think that maybe, despite the fact that in the first 2 rounds, the Goats wasn't really working out for Interitus the way they intended, I think that actually swapping to a Goats at this point in time might be working better for them than trying to stick on this dive type comp that they're running.
No doubt about it. I think they really need Goats. However, I don't think they are actually going to make it back to the point. We see Bobby Pangang popping his ultimate and jumping off, knowing that that signifies the end of the match. And as you said, like this counter Goats comp coming from Evo Esports here is just, it's almost like they negate the sustain that Interitus brings to the table and want them to initiate on Evo Esports so that Evo can just counter whatever they dive in with, versus trying to take the fight to Interitus, which I find very interesting, but also very cool way of dealing with that dive that Interitus was bringing with the triple support.
It's nice to be appreciated.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's interesting to see a sort of the way that the two teams try to adapt to one another and sort of figure each other out. Evo definitely did a very good job of trying to negate what it was that Interitus was bringing to the table. It took Interitus slightly longer to adapt, and in some cases I think they didn't quite swap their comps up enough. Either they didn't swap it up enough, or they waited just a little bit too long before they decided to sort of spice it up a little bit and try and bring something new.
Yeah, and I think this is probably one of the first times that I've seen dive being run with a trip support with a Brigitte from the side of OG Interitus. And it has the potential to work, and it looks like it could be very strong. But I think Evo, just knowing what their win condition is, yet again, knowing that they need to split Interitus up, makes it so much easier for Interitus to do that. I mean, if you look at that compositional structure that they have there, they're running these 3 supports with the intention of having the Lucio speed up the Brig, with the Winston and the Diva diving in, with this Pharah coming overhead in the dive. But it leaves the Brigitte and the Lucio in this awkward position where they either fight the flanker from behind or they stick with the team. And I think many times when they opted to kill that flanker at the back, another flanker would kill them from the side. And as you say, I think Goats would have possibly worked better on that last map there for them. Specifically considering that Evo Esports was running only the 1 tank, meaning that if you take out the Winston, they don't have much sustain after that.
Yeah, no, definitely. They'd be able to take out the Winston fairly quickly. They would have their own Brig to counter the Brig on the Evo side, so that takes down one of their sustains as well. So I think that maybe actually running the Goats on that last point definitely would have helped them, at least for the time it took Evo to counter the comp once again. But yeah, I definitely think that might have helped a bit.
No doubt about it, and a really lovely set of matches coming out here today. Evo Esports really showing us what they can do. We have seen them throughout this leg keep continuously improving, and it looks like they finally found their stride. They've found what they want to do, and they've been executing it so well that this match that I'd love to watch their next match, knowing that they keep improving like this, doing extremely well considering what they're running into. I mean, Goats isn't an easy thing to counter, and they were doing it so seamlessly that it looked like they had rehearsed it a million times over. Interitus also doing extremely well on their part. Unfortunately, as you say, not swapping soon enough or not spicing things up enough. But still doing extremely well against a very strong Evo side here. Knowing that Evo's SR, I mean, average SR is higher than most of, or some Prem teams actually. It just goes to show they're finally finding their synergy, and they're finally building that team cohesion that they need in order to push through and win this first division possibly. However, with that being said, we do see Evo Esports taking the set 3-0, and yet again it was a wonderful cast. Thank you to all the viewers for watching, and thank you Donimay for joining me once again.
It is an absolute pleasure as always. I hope that everybody enjoyed the match and the cast. Sorry for the little bit of technical interruption. I got disconnected, Seraphim got disconnected. Thank you, Blizzard. Thank you, Telcom. We appreciate our not sponsored. But yeah, I hope we see you all again soon. This last leg is drawing to a close rather quickly, so it'll be an interesting next few days as the teams try and sort of round up these last few matches, get all their wins in and their points sorted, so that it can be decided who is going to go to the playoffs and who we will then ultimately see at Comic-Con.
No doubt, extremely keen to see us, and I think we can all agree tonight's MVP definitely goes to Telcom. Extremely great stuff from them. And with that, we will be knocking off now. Thank you very much. Stay well, everyone.
Bye, everybody.